work with a client. Working with a client is always very tricky. I will also here add from our basic beginner course my ideas and thoughts about, but especially when it comes to bigger stuff, it can be a lot more challenging to work with client, especially when you have a lot of freehand painting or stencil work and the client have to stand quite a lot, or you have to have painting in between of the sessions and you have long sessions. This can be very mentally challenging also for you. How to bring a client through the sessions, how to go through long sessions. That's a lot based on experience. So I only can recommend, don't go too big, don't plan too big stuff. Always try to be in a comfort level of your skills and in your mindset. So you are, as a tattoo artist, in a session with confidence, with a good energy and with a healthy mind, because your presence will have a big influence on your client. And when you start getting nervous and panicking, your client will. So you really want to avoid that. So better you plan stuff a little smaller, and in the worst case, in the best case, you always can add another half hour of tattooing in the end, or you can paint a little bit more on it or something like this. But in my opinion, it's always good to plan sessions smaller than they are. Maybe keep room for the end. Tell your client, this is what we do. Especially we here work a lot, multiple days on one client. Sometimes it can be handy to give them rest days in between. For us, it's very easy. We have our own guest house. We always plan rest days in between for our clients. And sometimes you have clients, they're not fully sure. You maybe, depends on your schedule later on, you can give them an optional third session and say, hey, when everything runs good, we can do it. And when not, then doesn't matter. I just plan you in half. And you don't have to worry. We see how you feel back then. Because also for the client, when he maybe start a bodysuit and he comes the first time to make 2 or 3 sessions in a row, he don't know how experience like this and how it feels to get tattooed so much on the body and so heavy sessions over such a short period of time. So that's why you should really be a little bit flexible and help to understand him and you how the sessions go. Later on, you will see when you work as example on a bodysuit and after like a few sessions, let's say you tattooed someone like 3, 4, 5 sessions, he was come a couple of times to you, you have more understanding of him, how he's mentally, how he can cope with the pain, how he can cope with the session, and how he can handle everything. And then you can easily plan bigger sessions or longer sessions because you feel more confident and he will feel more confident. Work with client. So when it comes to a tattoo, it's mostly not that you just can choose by yourself what you make for a tattoo. Mostly there will be a client and he has some wishes and some ideas, and you have to collaborate kind of with him to find a nice motif who looks good, who works on the body, and so on. For this, a lot of things are very important, like the placement, movements. We will all talk about this. There are some stuff, I mean, the internet is a very big place where you find a lot of inspiration pictures. I personally like to use pictures from similar stuff, or from like, let's say I make a picture from myself, a picture I make myself from like a spray bottle I want to tattoo. So I make the picture from the spray bottle and I use this as a reference, or from a hand. I make the pictures from the hand like I want it and I use it as a reference for painting. But there's a lot of other options out there. As you see, there are a couple of books, like this is a flower book which I made. And let's say you really want to go into more oriental tattoo, or you want to have like flowers, then there is a lot of source of tattoo stencil books, tattoo motif books. There's a lot of books for everything out there. And in my eyes, it's nice to use stuff like this as inspiration, but you shouldn't just copy stuff out one by one, because everything what you do should be a little bit more custom and a little bit more prepared for the client itself. But as you see, there's a lot of books out there. This one is like a little bit of older thing. That was like a more traditional sketchbook I made. So you see different tattoos, different placements, you see them even on the body. So it's a kind of a nice inspiration to see what's going on, what works. On top of this, there are a lot of books where you can just see tattoos. There are tattoo magazines. I mean, the internet is full, and everything what is the inspiration can be good because it helps you to see what's possible, what works, and it helps you to understand your client. And when your client says, hey, he won't have a skull tattoo, then it can be very nice to just research for skull tattoos, research for skulls at all, look what is out there, maybe even find some nice pictures from skull and repaint them. Or when your client want a pattern, I mean, beside of there are endless of pattern books out there. You will find patterns in the internet. You are able to make patterns yourself. We even have our own workshop, by the way, for how to make patterns, how to make flowers, how to make motifs for abstract work, and so on. There's a lot of things you find in the internet who helps you to make nice motifs, because that's one of the biggest things when it comes to your customer. He won't have every customer is happy when you make something a little bit more custom for them, and so on. Working with a customer also means that there is a lot of things involved. You want that everything is safe and clean and you have good light, but you also want that your customer feel kind of comfortable, that he feels safe, that he feels in a good place, because that means he will have a little less pain, he will let go easier, feel more comfortable. So this also will definitely make your work a lot more easy when it comes to tattooing. So you always should think about that tattooing is not only the craftsmanship, it's not only to just take a motif, put it on the skin. This is also an experience you pass on to someone. This is maybe a very important step in the life of a client, because he make a certain tattoo for certain reasons. Some tattoos are having a very strong and big meaningfulness behind. So always be aware, you want to give an overall very nice and pleasurable experience where the customer have a nice memory. Because sometimes you hear from stories like, yeah, I have this tattoo, it looks really good, I like it, but the tattoo artist was really an asshole, it was really horrible, and I never liked this, because for me tattooing always was something very, very personal, and it should be, and it is. And you as a tattoo artist, you will always be part of the tattoo, because your client most likely will remember the tattoo session, especially when they have only a few tattoos. Then you will be always kind of connected to them, and you want to have good memories with that. I really have to mention that every customer is different, and you will have probably a lot of very easygoing customer. You will have a lot of fun in the session. Everything will be easy, no complaining, no crying, no scream, not much hustle around. And that is very cool, and that is absolutely awesome, but that is not how it runs all the time. Sometimes you will have a couple of more complicated customers, more, let's say, picky ones, or like who are mentally more challenging. Some, they take a lot of energy from you. It's very hard to go with them through the tattoo session, but you should just be aware of that it's a unique experience for everyone, and you never know what happens. And you as a tattoo artist, you should be in charge of this, and you should like not go crazy, not go frustrated, not go anything, except that it's maybe a crazy experience for them. And maybe sometimes a tattoo feels like very silly for you, and you think like, oh, this small tattoo on the arm, but maybe this is a very crazy big step for your client, and he's panicking from this for many years, and so on. You never 100% know the backstory, so just prepare that not every tattoo session will be always very easy, that not every tattoo session will be always very, very simple. Also, some clients will have a lot of pain, some clients will have less pain. Some people show more pain, some people don't. So there can be everything, a wide spectrum of people lying, shaking, screaming, always rip away their arm, and it makes it almost impossible for you to make a good tattoo. And then there are people still lying very nice there, and so there's everything. So just always try to be calm, to be the calm pole in this, to like not go all crazy, because when a customer goes crazy and you go crazy, like you get the point. So then at least when you are calm, it brings everything down. And I know this is a very big step in my eyes in the full tattoo process, and it will take you probably a long time to feel confident enough to learn how to act with the client in certain situations, how to calm them down, how to talk with them, how to find good compromises in that, because like to give a client every time a break he want one, it's sometimes also not help him. It's more like escape, but he also is happy when the tattoo is finished, and he's also happy when the tattoo looks good. So there's a lot of stuff you have to learn on the way. Just be aware of that working with a client is different than painting on paper. That's why I mentioned already before that when you have a design planned very proper, when you have planned everything around the tattoo session very proper, you have to worry less about all that stuff, and you are a lot more focused on the client alone. The client will feel your presence, he will feel that you are more relaxed, and this will have a big influence also on your client and on the full session.
Yeah, to work with a client, this is, I think, one of the most important stuff you work with when you tattoo, because for me it's important to get a feeling for the person when they come. I speak about the design or what I have in my mind, and then that they also get the idea that I have, that they understand what I want to do. Because I hope I know what I do, and then I try to explain what I have in my mind. And yeah, and the clients are very different. Some are like, with some it's easy, you just tell them and then you can work. And with others it's more difficult, because they like maybe are not so sure, or when they make like a big step to tattoo the back piece or something, that can be a big step for someone. So then it's not so easy for them to let go. I don't like to show the design before, like completely, but this is I think special when you do like a bodysuit, because then you maybe let the design like grow step by step. Mostly I have a rough idea, and this I explain, but then it's also nice that you like, when you do a writing, you paint the writing, then you explain what you have in your mind, like the overall idea, but then I let the tattoo grow step by step. Because I think it's also not easy to, like when you have to decide for a picture, and you see, like when I give them the design, and then you have to like decide, this I will wear for the rest of my life. Like a painting you have to hang on your wall. It's easy, you know. When you don't like it, you just throw it away. But with the tattoo, maybe it's not so easy. So I like to let it grow step by step. Also, it has to do with the people, what they give me, you know, like they want this word or they like this, and then it's like the design also happens together with the people. So the communication is also important, and then the piece grows.
So it's not the best to just paint by yourself a design without having any idea what the client is and like.
Yeah, it can be. Sometimes I make a design and the people decide for that. But I like it more than I speak with the people before I get a feeling what they want. And then with this feeling, I try to make something out of it. What kind of idea I have, what they have in their mind. So it's like a play with ideas what we have together. And this is what I like to do.